statement, question, exclamation, and order. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define a statement, question, exclamation, and order. Identify a given sentence as a statement, question, exclamation, or order. Change the question into a statement. Change the statement into a question. Reorder words to form an order.
Hi, Fleck! Oh, watch out, Fleck! Where are you taking such a heavy pile of books?
I'm taking the books to my cousin. He needs them for a project.
Wait, I'll help you carry them.
Thanks, Zizi. That will be a big help.
When Zizi asked Fleck where he was taking the books, Fleck said he was taking them to his cousin. Zizi warned Fleck to be careful. Each of these group of words that Zizi and Fleck used in their conversation is called a sentence. A sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense by itself. It does not depend on another word or group of words to do so. Sentences are grouped under 4 kinds based on what information they convey and how they convey it. Let's learn about the 4 types of sentences. A sentence can be a statement. A statement is a sentence that tells us something or gives us information about something. Let's look at the following examples. Fleck is carrying a pile of books. Zizi likes reading books. The above sentences simply tell us or give information about Fleck and Zizi. Hence, these sentences are called statements. A sentence can be a question. A question is a sentence that asks us something. Let's look at a few examples. What is Fleck carrying? Where is he going? These sentences ask us something about Fleck. Hence, these sentences are called questions. A sentence can also be an exclamatory sentence or an exclamation. An exclamatory sentence or an exclamation is a sentence that expresses a sudden emotion or strong feeling. An exclamatory sentence can express feelings of happiness, sadness, excitement, anger, or surprise. Let's look at a few examples. What a heavy pile of books this is! How beautiful this painting looks! These sentences express the feeling of surprise and happiness. Hence, these sentences are called exclamations or exclamatory sentences. An order is also a type of sentence. An order or a command is a sentence that orders or directs someone to do something. Let's look at two examples here. Watch out! Be careful with those books. Both these sentences are giving directions. Hence, these sentences are called orders. A sentence will not be complete without the use of punctuation marks. We need to punctuate a sentence correctly for it to make complete sense. A sentence, whether a statement, a question, an exclamation, or an order, always begins with a capital letter. Look carefully at these sentences. Here, we can see that all four types of sentences begin with a capital letter. However, each of these sentences end with a different punctuation mark. Let's understand this better. If we look carefully at these sentences, we can see that all four of them end with different punctuation marks. A statement ends with a full stop. A question ends with a question mark. An exclamation ends with an exclamation mark. An order can end in either a full stop or an exclamation mark. The sentences "Look out" and "Watch your step" are both orders. However, one ends with an exclamation mark and the other ends with a full stop. In the case of sentences, if punctuation is incorrectly used or not used at all, the entire meaning of a sentence can change. A statement can be turned into a question, or a question can be turned into a statement by changing the order of the words and by changing the punctuation mark. First, let us learn how to change a statement into a question. Take a look at the following statement. Fleck is carrying a pile of books. We can change the statement into a question by placing the verb is in the beginning of the sentence and replacing the full stop with a question mark at the end. Thus, we can form the question, is Fleck carrying a pile of books? We can also change a question into a statement by changing the order of the words and changing the punctuation mark. Take a look at the following question. Are the books heavy? We can change this question into a statement by placing the verb are after the subject, the books, in the sentence and replacing the question mark with a full stop. Thus, we can form the statement, the books are heavy. Now, let us look at how orders are formed. An order can end in either a full stop or an exclamation mark. For example, the order "Do not touch" ends with an exclamation mark. We can end this order in a full stop by adding the word please before the sentence. The P here is capital since we always start a sentence with a capital letter. So, we can form the sentence, please do not touch. We change this order back to the original by removing the word please and replacing the full stop with an exclamation mark. So, Always keep in mind the change in punctuation when changing the forms of sentences.
Whew, that pile was really heavy. Thank you for all your help, Zizi.
No problem. I'm glad I could be of help. Especially when your mummy treats us with some delicious orange juice.
It really is refreshing after all the hard work. I'm going to share another glass of juice with Zizi. But before I go, let's just go through all the points we have learned in the lesson: statement, question, exclamation, and order. A sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense by itself. A statement is a sentence that tells us something or gives us information about something. A question is a sentence that asks something. An exclamatory sentence or an exclamation is a sentence that expresses a sudden emotion or strong feeling. An order or a command is a sentence that orders or directs someone to do something. A sentence, whether a statement, a question, an exclamation, or an order, always begins with a capital letter. A statement ends with a full stop. A question ends with a question mark. An exclamation ends with an exclamation mark. An order can end in either a full stop or an exclamation mark. A statement can be turned into a question, or a question can be turned into a statement by changing the order of the words and by changing the punctuation mark.